The U.S. Senate has just delivered a stunning setback that could fundamentally undermine Donald Trump's entire legal defense strategy. In an extraordinary bipartisan move, 53 senators, including 11 Republicans, voted to block 3 emergency motions filed by Trump's legal team, motions they were urgently trying to push through before February 15th. This wasn't a routine procedural dispute. It was the legislative branch drawing a hard constitutional line and cutting off legal lifelines Trump's attorneys were counting on to delay multiple criminal trials. When senators who have defended Trump for years suddenly joined Democrats to reject his legal strategy, it signals something far more serious than political disagreement. It means the ground has shifted in a dramatic and potentially irreversible way. Make sure you're subscribed, because what's unfolding right now could reshape how presidential power is understood in America. So what triggered this unprecedented Senate intervention? On January 29th, Trump's legal team filed 3 emergency motions requesting the Senate's direct involvement in his criminal defense. These motions sought authorization to invoke executive privilege, block testimony from former administration officials, and delay federal proceedings until after the 2026 midterm elections. Legal scholars across the political spectrum immediately raised alarms. Many called the requests constitutionally offensive, arguing that Trump's attorneys were attempting to weaponize Congress itself to interfere with ongoing criminal prosecutions. Tensions between federal prosecutors and Trump's legal team had already been escalating for months, driven by repeated delay tactics and increasingly aggressive immunity claims. But everything reached a breaking point on February 1st, when Trump's lead attorney submitted what members of the Senate Judiciary Committee later described as one of the most brazen abuses of congressional authority they had ever seen. According to documents reviewed by multiple outlets, the motions demanded that the Senate block specific witnesses, seal broad categories of evidence, and postpone all proceedings until a more politically favorable environment emerged. In essence, the filings attempted to transform the Senate into an active participant in Trump's criminal defense. That's when everything changed. On February 2nd, Senate Judiciary Committee members convened an emergency closed-door session. Even some of Trump's most loyal allies reportedly acknowledged that approving these motions would cross constitutional boundaries that could not be undone. A bipartisan coalition of 53 senators, 42 Democrats and 11 Republicans, ultimately agreed that the requests represented a dangerous misuse of legislative authority. Republican Senator Mike Crapo, a longtime Trump ally, reportedly warned that approving the motions would make the Senate complicit in obstructing justice. Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal, a former federal prosecutor, described the filings as a breathtaking attempt to turn Congress into a criminal defense apparatus. By the end of the 4-hour session, senators drafted formal resolutions rejecting all 3 motions and referring Trump's legal team to the Senate Ethics Committee for potential violations. When those resolutions reached the Senate floor on February 3rd, the fallout became undeniable. Even Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, one of Trump's most consistent defenders, voted to reject the motions. In a tense floor statement, Graham acknowledged his long support for Trump, but said he could not, in good conscience, support efforts that would turn the U.S. Senate into an instrument for interfering with criminal prosecutions. That moment sent shockwaves through Washington. History offers chilling parallels. During Watergate, Republican senators eventually told Richard Nixon he no longer had their support, a realization that led to his resignation within days. The difference here is even more profound. Trump's legal team allegedly attempted to recruit Congress itself to obstruct the judicial process. Constitutional experts say that's where the line was crossed. According to legal analysts, the motions demanded that the Senate issue determinations meant to influence federal judges directly, effectively, instructing courts on how to handle evidence and witness testimony in active criminal trials. Even scholars who have defended presidential authority in the past acknowledge that, if accurately characterized, these filings crossed professional and constitutional boundaries. The implications are enormous. First, this represents formal bipartisan rejection of Trump's legal strategy, including from members of his own party. While the resolutions don't directly alter court proceedings, their symbolic weight is immense. Judges, prosecutors, and voters now see that Trump's approach has become so extreme that even longtime allies refuse to defend it. Second, federal judges are now aware that Trump's attorneys allegedly attempted to involve Congress in suppressing evidence and blocking witnesses, conduct that courts traditionally view very unfavorably when evaluating future motions. And finally, the political consequences could be severe. Republican candidates nationwide will now face questions about whether they support a nominee whose legal team attempted to manipulate constitutional institutions to evade accountability. Trump's response only intensified the crisis. Rather than addressing the substance of the motions, he lashed out at senators who rejected them, calling them weak and disloyal. Legal experts note that when arguments give way to personal attacks, it often signals the absence of a credible defense. This moment isn't just about Donald Trump, it's about whether a former president can use political influence to obstruct criminal prosecutions, and whether the separation of powers still holds when tested at its limits. 53 senators have now gone on record rejecting that idea. What happens next will determine whether constitutional boundaries still matter or whether political power can override legal accountability. Stay tuned. This story is far from over.